Yo, it's the Master Connector coming at you, live and direct. This ain't AI, it's that real human connect. Yo, welcome to the Master Connector show, where the real ones pull up and the energy grow. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we live. LinkedIn and YouTube, where the real ones vibe. Started back in 2020, now the movement legit. Hundreds of episodes, and we still never quit. Steve Spiro, the Master Connector on attack. Rob Genevieve's the brand builder, got his back. Two introverts, turned masters of connection. 28 years deep, built on trust and direction. No fake networking, no pinch slapping attacks. We build real relationships, and that's all facts. Famous guests, athletes, authors, TEDx flames. Military leaders elevating the game. Pack 30 minutes, but the impact hits strong. Jump in the comments and connect all show long. Be authentic, stay others focused, have grit, build community strong.
Yeah, that's how we are.
Be authentic, stay others focused, have grit, build community strong.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovese, and I want to thank you for joining us today live, as we go live every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we hope you can join live, because live is where it's at. Live is where you get your questions answered. Live is where you can interact with us, with other members of the audience. But look, if you can't join us live, we get it. You're busy. You're building your thing. Right? Go to masterconnector.show and see the roster of people that we got coming up in future shows, and bookmark your calendar for the particular episode that you need to be on live so you don't miss it. And again, it's all about getting your questions answered. We love having the questions because, look, even though we got great guests, we've only got 30 minutes with them. And actually only 20, because by the time we get rolling, by the time we were wrapped up, 20 minutes with somebody is not enough time to touch on everything we want to talk about. So make sure you're getting here live for the people you need to check in with and get those questions answered. And look, today we had an amazing show today. I'm really excited for this guest because this is a guy who I just met him, but I've been looking at his background. Of course, you're connected on LinkedIn, as you should all be. And he's doing something in a very focused manner, in a very proactive way to bring people back into the equation. And I know it sounds so cliche. It sounds so like, well, duh, Rob, of course we want to bring people into, but look, you're breaking these rules. You're using AI when you shouldn't. You should be showing up, but you're sending in automations. These are great tools, but you've got to know when to show up. And here's the thing, I remember a long time ago, a guy told me, he said, Rob, you need to be normal. You need to be real. And I didn't know how. I was acting like a robot before the age of AI, and I had to change that nonsense because, look, every time I've connected with somebody, it's because my feelings came through. The fact that I care about people comes through because I've connected with them through a relatable story that might, bridge a little gap between us that makes them go, this guy gets me. And that's what it's all about. So I'm so excited about this show. But listen, we're all connectors here. So connect in the comments. And look, again, if you got questions, put them in the comments. We'll make sure we get them answered. And as we are all connectors, there's only one master connector. So let's bring him on, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Robbie G? Listen, you need to take a vacation more often because you're fired up. I love it. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited.
Yes, exactly. So it's going to be a great show. And nice color. I'm envious. You got some good color there, but that's that Italian blood in you for sure.
Yeah, so it's good to get away, but it's great to be back.
Great to have you back for sure. Thanks. What's going on, everyone? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And this is going to be a great show and excited here. We got Yolanda in the house with us live. John DePrince, a new friend of mine here, now on the show here. Appreciate you being on here, John. But listen, I got a question. All right. How have you ever noticed that the more technology advances, the more people seem to crave something technology can never replace? Ponder that for a minute. And you know what we're talking about. We're talking about that human piece, right? Listen, as Rob said, technology is amazing. One of my keynotes is called The Real AI, which is authentic influence. And I love the fact that, yes, AI is great. We did that, as you probably know, if you're watching the show, that intro video was done utilizing AI. AI is a great tool. But the differentiator is the human piece. And it's so crucial. I love speaking about that human piece, right? And another one of my keynotes is breaking barriers to create real human connection. This AI digital era, it's very connected, but it's very disconnected because people again, like Rob said, right? It's unfortunately, people go taking the lazy route. They're just utilizing, if chat gets you, or Claude, or whatever platform, Copilot gives you wording, you just using it verbatim, right? Use it as a tool. A tool is a great thing. A knife is a great thing. A knife can either cure or heal or save a person, or it could kill them. So it's just a tool. But that human piece, right? What's the differentiator between what that tool did? It's the human that's the operator behind it, and their heart and their attention. And, having the right heart and having the right attention, that's something that only humans can really do, at least for now. It may change down the line, but that's it for now. So very excited to have you, have Robbie G back, and appreciate everyone in the comments. Make sure you get in the comments and connect with each other. Great to have Jake on here. Jake's a fellow TEDx speaker, and also friend of Ryan Brady, who both helped us get that gig at being on TED stage. So yeah, AI that's true. AI creates frauds. That's true, John. So, but get in the comments, questions, whatever you got to do, connect with each other. Just blast to be on with you. But if you're excited to have my man, my Rob man, my co-host Rob G, introduce our guest, type in the comments. Let's go, Robbie G.
All right, let's go. Joshua B. Lee is a globally recognized personal branding strategist, speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of Standout Authority. Known as the dopamine dealer of LinkedIn, Joshua has spent more than 20 years helping executives, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders build authentic brands that create meaningful relationships and real business growth. After building 16 companies, that's 16 companies, managing nearly $1 billion in advertising and generating more than 35 trillion online impressions, Joshua discovered that people don't connect with perfection, they connect with authenticity. Today, he teaches leaders how to humanize their brands, build trust, and create lasting impact. Please welcome to the show, Joshua B. Lee. What is up, Joshua?
What is up, gentlemen? Good to be able to be here, and it's great to be able to kind of hear that title, because I think I sent it to y'all and I went through a while back, because this show is awesome, and you guys have such a wait list of people to get on. And as you see, my title's even changed. The dopamine dealer kind of went to the pasture, so to speak, because people see dopamine as bad now, when again, this is not used correctly. Let's be honest. Dopamine without direction is insanity. That's social media, but dopamine with intention creates connection, relationships. So, we've had that shift, but yeah, I'm excited to be here, guys. I'll shut up now.
No, you're good. And listen, anyone with that big a hair, you could do whatever you want in my book, So love that. Love it. So, but welcome. We got Peter Laughter on here with us. I think that's how you pronounce the name, Peter. I know
Looks like Laughter to me.
Exactly, right. Exactly. Well, he and I had a great conversation the other day, and so great to have you on here. And of course, Yolanda's welcoming you. So Josh, amazing. I know it's been like a 9-month anticipation getting you on here on the show, but we appreciate your patience. And I love the fact how you call yourself the human catalyst, right? And human with a Y-O-U in there versus human. Because like we talked about, it's all about being human. And I think, yes, technology is great, but humanity is even better. And I know there's a lot of gloom and doom people that, they're talking about, technology is going to eventually create this apocalypse and all this crazy stuff. I believe humanity is great, and I believe we will rise and we'll be okay, in my humble but accurate opinion. So let's talk about humanity. So community, type in #humanity. And so here's your question. First question of the show here. In a world filled with AI, Josh, why does being human matter more than ever? And that's a layup for your question here.
Steve, I love that question. And I think it's really, really important why being human matters more than ever, because so many people talk about us being in a digital revolution right now. I call BS on that, guys. I'm going to be honest. I call we're in a human revolution, because as human beings, we have more power than we've ever had in our history. And that's something that people are forgetting, right? They're going in and they're giving all the power to the AI and saying AI is going to take over. AI is going to be able to do this. But just like you said in the beginning, it's the knife, right? The knife is a tool, and the person behind it chooses to save or kill, and so to speak, right? Being able to do those kind of aspects. And so that's where I think some of this actually shifts, because going through, we're sick of it. We've been in, guys, I've been doing this for 25 years. You know, MySpace was one of my first clients. I know it doesn't really show, but I actually helped them design one of the first social media ads to be able to monetize their traffic. That's why when Rob was going through talking about all that traffic, a lot of it came from those early days, right? Being able to go through. And I think that's the difference, right? There's a huge difference between actually traffic and actually true engagement. If you want AI, you want to be able to leverage it. You want to be able to go through and be able to get a whole bunch of leads and a whole bunch of, impressions and likes and comments. Great. But I don't need a whole bunch of leads. I want relationships, because I look at it this way, right? With humanity, as human beings, we're looking for connection, because connection builds relationship. Relationship creates opportunity. And I think that's the divide, right? I think AI right now, it's not replacing human beings. I think it's exposing the people who were never showing up as human before, now more than ever. And I think that's what's really happening.
I love that. That's spot on for sure. It's interesting because I believe people, you talk about that human connection, you talk about stories and how people, relate to you. They relate through stories. And so I really want to dig into that a little bit, because everyone has a story. Everyone has, and I believe that's what creates the human aspect, is when we're able to connect with people on that deep human level with the stories. So community, type in hashtag stories. So the question is this: why do our scars often connect us more deeply than our successes?
It's a beautiful thing, right? Especially in this world of AI, everyone's looking for perfection. And that's why we have such a world of sameness now. There's no differentiator. Our lives, there's a huge difference between Steve than an expert. Because guess what? We can all be experts now with AI. I want to be the authority. And the authority has scars. And authority has someone that I can trust, because they've gone through it and they've lived it and they've done it. I mean, when I go through and I think about the different aspects, we have a 10-20-70, way of being able to create content online and being able to work with some of our clients. And, it all starts with that 10% personal, right? Human beings connect with other human beings. And I think that's what people forget about, right? Like, I don't need to know, like, okay, if you're on Facebook, maybe it's different, but like, let's say LinkedIn, like, I don't need to know it's your kid's first day of school. That's great. But I need to know you're a dad, right? So that's where that 10%, because what I'm trying to be able to do is remind everyone, we've got to get from the door to the couch. And I think that's what story does, because if I'm just knocking on your door and I'm like, hey, Steve, hey, Rob, I'm here. I sold your neighbor down the street some windows. We've all got it recently. Like, close the door. But Steve, Rob, you and I are sitting on a couch hanging out, right? And you're like, hey, Josh, man, you tell me a story going through, and you're like, hey, man, I've got this. It's amazing how the connection, right? You're invited in. And I think that's where some of this stuff actually goes, right? We have to be able to tell these stories, because stories also give people permission to be able to share their own. And I think that is a big problem that we see in today's world. We're not seeing people be given the permission to show up real and raw, right? They want to show up overproduced. So I think that's the big shift that we need to be able to push people back into. Real and raw is much easier than trying to remember what was faked.
Yeah. And I think what your point, Josh, about, AI is in a way too perfect, right? Too polished. And that's why people do things on social media, like leave in their typos on purpose, right? Because AI would never make a typo. When I think about the scars that we have that make us real, right? That AI does not have scars in the way we have them. I remember early on, I didn't know what I was doing, honestly, when I first started my business. I'm very pro small business. I spent 25 plus years in corporate. It did a real bad number on me, and I got out. But, when I got out, I was talking about the time when I'm relating to people going, look, the reason I did what I was doing was because I couldn't take, being laid off and being broke. And 2015 was the bottom. I mean, we were on government assistance twice. I have 4 kids. The church put a box of food on our door for Thanksgiving. Like, we were that family, and we never knew it, right? We kept a good attitude. Yeah. And I was like, what is this doing here? My daughter's like, why'd they leave his food? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, because you're broke. That's why. Where we literally had no money and couldn't pay the bills, electricity going up, like that whole thing. And I'm giving like the Cliff Notes version, but when I tell people the story in a better way, that's more human, the idea is to go, look, you can win despite what you're going through, right? Because most people don't want to, they think everybody else has got it all together, and that's why you win. Like Josh, you've never been through anything. I mean, with all those impressions, with all those billions of dollars, all those companies you built, you've obviously been perfect from the womb up until now, right? So
Got the perfect hair.
I mean,
perfect hair.
guys, let's be honest. I mean, that was one of the biggest things, right? I think that's the thing that separates us, because our perception of other people's perception of us is what drives us crazy. We have no clue what someone else perceives, but unless they tell us, right? And so I think that's social media, and that's what we've been put into. And that drove me, because like you said, I'm actually now at 17 companies with my new company, and we're going to be giving everyone, free access to here at the end of the show. But like, that didn't happen by chance. And I was deemed successful based on monetary values. But I'm going to tell you, I remember 10 years ago staring at the wall with my door shut and contemplating if the money I would leave for my kids would be more important than me.
Wow.
And let me tell you, that's a hard place to be in when the world deems you successful because you're making money. But I wasn't aligned, and I needed to be able to shift. And that's where my life, luckily I was given permission by a good friend of mine to be able to take my life back and be able to give my former hers and move forward. But that story, that humanizes me. It lets me know, it lets other people understand, like, life's not an up, straight vertical or flat. I mean, there's ups and downs, and until someone lets you in, you never know what they've been through. Just like you said, Rob.
Yeah. I want to chime in a little bit here, and man, that's hard to hear, Josh, I got to say, but I appreciate your honesty and your authenticity on it. And I think the key is, and I think some people, I hear struggle with, hey, how do, LinkedIn is specifically, right? How do we keep LinkedIn not being a Facebook where just people are just talking personal stuff? And I think the answer is, listen, there's a fine line. You can walk the balance between telling your story, being transparent, but also you could tie it back. Like, Rob's message about the government assistance is a message of persistence and grit and determination. And that's back to a business message, right? So it's not like it's so random, like, so I think it's just a matter of, it's a balance, but again, it's a heart thing again, because you don't want to be telling stories just for manipulation purposes either. It's got to be the right heart. And I think a lot of it has to do with putting your heart not on yourself, but to other people. And so I want to kind of keep this ball rolling and talk about others. So community, type in hashtag others. I'm a huge believer in being others focused. And that was not always me. Rob knows me for 28 years. He knows the other Steve, talk about others. The Steve that was very self-consumed, self-focused. I wouldn't say I was the egomaniac. I just was so worried about myself that I couldn't really think about anyone else because I was so concerned about myself because I was so insecure. But I want to get your take on this. So here's the question, Josh. How can someone become truly others focused instead of simply appearing that way? Now we're talking back to authenticity again, right?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Steve. And I think this is the first misconception that we have to be able to shift. You talk about LinkedIn. And I didn't get to the whole aspect, right? I said 10% was being human, is that personal. 20% is running your company, but not what you can do for someone, what you have done, right? Don't tell me you can make me $1 million. Show me how you've done it for somebody else. That's that storytelling we get back to, right? Others want to be able to hear themselves in your story. And then 70% of that needs to be add value, be an aggregator of value, right? Educate your audience, like make it about them, give it away for free. Because again, when you educate someone enough for them to understand they have an issue or a problem, they will come to you for the solution if you were the one that educated them there. And I think that's the big thing, right? Everyone on LinkedIn and a lot of platforms, they talk about their shiny things and no one cares, right? They don't care about your shiny things, right? And so like, that's that whole piece. And the big misconception is that LinkedIn's a B2B platform. And I'm going to tell y'all, like 30 years ago, guys like me, made up B2B and B2C, business to business and business to consumer to diversify ad spend, right? I'm telling you, that's what it was. We could now I can have two different ways to be able to monetize. Every company is run by another human being. Most marketers forget that, right? And I think that's where this making about others, because it's all H to H, human to human. And when you actually understand who you're talking to, what's going on, that's where it kind of goes forward. And that's what platforms like LinkedIn, that's how you can shine. That's how you can be the lighthouse. Yes, you've got to be able to tell your story, but when you make someone feel seen, feel heard, and you educate them enough, this is where opportunity comes to you. And now they're not looking for AI, they're looking for you as the authority.
That's awesome. Yeah, community, we're talking about why being human matters with Joshua B. Lee, and it's a great conversation. And I have another keynote. It's called "The Death of the Old School Sales Rep: Going from Transactional to Transformational." And in a world where it's B2B and B2C sales, like you said H to H. Mine is B to human, right? Business to human, right? Because it's the same idea, right? It's we're all humans. Like, yeah, C, B, whatever. We're humans. We're H, right? So it's so important. But a lot of it, I believe, has to do with how we trust. And we're talking about stories, we're talking about authenticity, we're talking about being others focused. All those things help build a story or build a feeling that people can truly trust you. There's somebody that they could rely on. And so I want to talk about trust a little bit here, Josh. So community, type in #trust. And here's the question. What is the fastest way to build trust online today?
And I think that's the hard part, right? We are living literally in a trust deficit more than ever, right? There's a lack of trust in human beings and companies, in our government, across the board. And trust is going to be the next currency, right? That's what people are looking for. And to be able to build it, it's not about one post. It's not about being able to share stories like Rob shared, or that I shared, like just one time and being like, oh, well, everyone's got me now. It's consistency, right? It's about being real and raw versus overproduced. I'm going to tell you, most of us, I mean, like, we're not, and I've been blessed, right? I've been blessed to be able to work with some of the most well-known men and women across the globe, to be able to own their personal brands on LinkedIn and be able to do that. And I'll tell you guys, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, even if if they're not a household name, I'm like, guys, I don't need the overproduced video, right? Show me behind the scenes, show me the rough cuts, show me the raw. I'd rather see you walking with your kids by a creek or running around or whatever it is, because that shows you're human. And I think that's what people want to be able to see these days. You're talking about trust. I want to be able to trust the person. We look for commonalities. And if someone sees you here and they feel they're here, that's a gap. And so that's one of the biggest things that I always show people, especially like on LinkedIn, guys. The one way you can be able to build trust a lot of times is to be able to actually show your full career, your full journey. Like, I talk to guys all the time that are well-known, whatever, and they're like, well, you're not CEO. That's not how you weren't born the CEO of this company.
Right.
What did you do first? Like, well, I worked at Payless, but I'm not going to put that on there. Like, why not?
Why not?
I worked at Chili's. People go, oh my God, you worked at Chili's? Me too. Right? Commonality, storytelling, relationship. This is how you build trust in today's world. They want to know you're real and you've started somewhere like them, and they have the opportunity to get there as well too. And now they trust you.
Yeah. And I've seen, to that exact point, Josh, we've all seen some of the most popular posts, whether it's LinkedIn or anywhere. I remember seeing this one not too long ago. It was this little old pizza shop somewhere in the United States. And they did this little video of the owner of the pizzeria dressed up in a Superman cape, and he's flying next to the guy's car as the guy's driving and delivers his pizza to the car. That's not what made it go viral. Right after that, they showed the behind the scenes of how they created with no money and a couple of staffers. That's what made it go viral, was because the fact that when you get to look behind the scenes, when you pull back the curtain on what you do and how you do it, you are adding so much value to people. They see the way you think. They go, whoa, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about, right? Because to your point, they don't want to see the polish and the certifications necessarily as much as they want to see all right, show me the scars you got on the way there where you stumbled and fell, and then you happened upon this process. This is why I teach people all the time as a brand guy, show your branded process. Tell people how you get them from start to success because they want to know that you know what you're doing. And when you are transparent that way, they go, oh, I can trust you now because I get you now.
Yep.
Yep.
Well said.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I want to just take a minute to acknowledge what Peter just wrote here. In January 2023, I wrote an article on how generative AI will drive a revolution in human and vulnerability. 3.5 years later, it makes me feel kind of clairvoyant. Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Peter. But yeah, I mean, I speak about when I'm doing connect calls. Some people that are part of the community may have heard me say this before, but people often want to start with the "what do you do" dance. I say, they were like, "Hey, so tell me what you do," and I say, "Can we avoid the what do you do dance?" And instead, I'd rather hear your story and where you born and raised. Like, they, oh, you want to go that far back? Yeah, I do, because I want to hear where you came from, like not necessarily where you are now, because that's part of your story, but a lot of it has to do with grit. I love to hear the grit, right? Going from Chili's to the human catalyst now. I mean, it's crazy, Josh. I love that. So let's talk about grit, right? Because grit is a key factor, I think, to success. I'm dyslexic, and with grit, I think it's a tremendous combination because it's given me the ability to be a creative problem solver. So question here for you on the grit question. How has adversity shaped who you've become?
That question would have been answered differently about 2 years ago. I would have gone through the story that I already told y'all.
Yeah.
And it did. It made me who I am. I wanted to make sure that instead of monetizing the web, I wanted to humanize it, right? I wanted to be able to help the people that are truly adding value to this world, not just monetizing it.
Sure.
But that shifted about 2 years ago. And, Steve, my kids are both, I have 3 kids, 16, 14, and now 2.5. My 2 oldest are neurodivergent. I've learned more and more that I'm neurodivergent as well, too. But a lot of change. Both my kids went through a lot of adversity early on and dealt with a lot of trauma with the past. And I wasn't there because of the divorce and things like that to be able to make sure. And I'll tell you, it's been a struggle over the last 2 years. I had to really step in and be a 200% father for my kids because my daughter was going through her own mental health challenges, as kids do these days more and more, and my son as well, where he was going through and I'll be honest, he was going through severe anorexia, which is uncommon in men, and that's how he was dealing with his trauma that he was actually dealing with. And I wanted to be that dad that I could be, and that's where it shaped me, right? This is why I do what I do, and I get on shows because I can't change this world by myself. I tried before, as I mentioned, damn near killed myself trying to do that. And now with my kids and what they're going on, I have to be able to make sure that I work with amazing humans like you and Rob to be able to make this world a better place, not only for my kids, but for yours and future generations. Because that's why being human matters. All this AI, again, look, I love AI. I use it, but I use it with intention, right? Because again, we are living in a world, gentlemen, that it's not, can we build it anymore? Yesterday, I did that. I went through, I was like, you know what? I need this teleprompter app I paid for. I paid $20 a year for it. Let me see if I could build it. Yeah. An hour later, I have my own dopamine dealer, teleprompter app. Yes. But the answer is not anymore. And this is especially for my kids and for the future generations is it's not, can we build it anymore? It's should we build it? And I think that's the difference. And that's what shaped me because of my own grit. Yes, I went through it. But when you go through as a parent, it's a massive shift, more so than I think that chisels away more so than anything else that you could ever go through.
It's amazing. Wow. Well said. Well, listen, we could go on and on. We're right at the bottom of the hour here. So I want to give you an opportunity, Josh, to just, I know you have something you want to bless the community with, and then any final thoughts and best way to connect with you, if you don't mind, as we wind our show down here.
Yeah, Steve, Rob, I really appreciate both of you guys for having me on. Really enjoyed this conversation. I think we could be talking together for a good hour or two.
Absolutely.
But you talk about these aspects, how I wanted to be able to shift. One of the biggest things that I saw in this world was, there's no way to be able to actually quantify your personal brand or who you can trust, especially in this world that we live in AI. You don't know if your parents, my parents, other people, if I'm talking to someone real, what's going on, and people are getting taken advantage of. And so we built this platform called Humanize, YOUMANIZ.ai. And we built this because of the fact that we wanted to be able to give a score, a trust factor on how someone shows up. How many people in this world do we see are amazing business people, and all of a sudden we find on the news they've been doing shady things behind the scenes, right? And they're not taking advantage of people. So we built a platform first of its kind to be able to build an industry standard for a personal brand, to be able to see how not only human beings view you and trust you, but how AI does as well too. We built that on the 7 psychological aspects of trust, not on likes, not on comments, not on shares, because all that can be gamed, truly on being able to go through and humanizing yourself online. So again, that's what we have. It's a free aspect to be able to go see how you show up on all the platforms, and then how to be able to show up better, so you can actually build that trust in this world. That trust is becoming that new currency.
I love it. Appreciate it. What's the best way for our community to reach you?
I mean, look, I want the community to be able to reach me on LinkedIn. I mean, that's where I spend most of my time, but I don't want them to be able to send me a message and just hit connect, right? I need that message that says, hey, Josh, I want to connect. I saw you on with Steve and Rob. And even better, y'all, if you know Steve and Rob better than I do, share a story with me about why you love Steve and Rob, why you listen to the show, because now I'll actually be able to share that back with them and be able to get to know them even better too.
Love that. Appreciate that. Well, you're the man. Appreciate you, Josh. Keep up the great work. You're really doing incredible stuff here for the world, not just our community and your community, but for the entire world. So thank you for all you do. Appreciate you big time. Thanks. We're gonna see you in the green room shortly here. So, well, I appreciate that. Let me just do that. Oh, sorry about that. Go back to this, and so. Not doing the best job here with the technology, but here we go. Yeah, so amazing. And if you enjoyed that, which I know you did, next week, same bad time, same bad channel, episode 269 on the 15th, it'll be thriving in the virtual space with Dr. Stephen Green. Don't want to miss it. And if you're looking to become a guest of a show, we have it about a 9-month wait, and there are some strict guidelines. But go to masterconnected.show. If you want to learn some of the up and coming shows coming up, go to masterconnected.show, or if you want to, if you're interested in being a sponsor like our amazing Russ Hedge, you can go there as well, and you'll learn all that. But I want to close with a quick story. As you guys know, I love closing down with a story. And by the way, get Rob's book. Rob has an amazing book. Don't miss it. But many people know Walt Disney for Disneyland, but few know how many times he was told his ideas would never work. He endured bankruptcy, rejection, and countless setbacks before creating something that inspired generations around the world. Listen, your circumstances don't define your future. Your willingness to keep showing up does. So may today's conversation inspire you to share your authentic story, invest in others, and be that beacon of light for the world. So folks, let's be that light. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
Yo, welcome to the Master Connector Show, where the real ones pull up and the energy grow. Every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, we love so long.